Good evening, this is GCN English News Edition, and you're watching with me, Nguyen Kongsai. First headlines. Kuki MP acknowledges President's rule in Manipur, reiterates demand for separate administration. KJC hurls back on statement made by Sambit Patra over Manipur's territorial integrity. President rule imposed to settle internal conflicts within ruling coalition parties, says Manipur CPIM. News in detail. The Kuki MP has welcomed the imposition of President's rule PR in Manipur, describing it as a necessary, albeit overdue, intervention. The organizations highlighted that the collapse of law and order under the administrations of former Chief Minister Biren Singh had caused severe suffering for the Kuki people. While recognizing the significance of President's rule, the Kuki MP made it clear that this development does not diminish their steadfast demand for a separate administrations under Article 239A of the Constitution. For decades, the Kuki community has endured systematic discriminations under the state government, impacting various sectors such as development, education, healthcare, and governance. The Kuki MP pointed to the tragic loss of hundreds of lives, including brutal acts of violence like rape and mutilations, along with the widespread destructions of villages and forced displacement is undeniable proof of the injustices inflicted upon their people. According to the Kuki MP, the continued subjugations under a Meitei-dominated administrations has made it clear that coexistence is no longer a feasible option. While acknowledging that the invocations of President's rule is a step forward, they emphasize that it does not address the deeper issue at hand. True justice, they argue, can only be achieved through the formal establishment of a separate administration that ensures the security, dignity, and self-governance of the Kuki people. The Kuki MP further called on the Indian government to show restraint and fairness in its dealing with their village volunteers who are protecting ancestral lands. They affirmed that the Kuki people have always adhered to the constitutions and laws of India and expect the same level of fairness in return. Additionally, the Kuki MP demanded accountability regarding the reported distributions of over 5,000 government firearms and more than 6 lakh rounds of ammunition to the Arambai Tingle, which have been used in attacks against their community. They called for responsible authorities to be held accountable for the security threat posed by these weapons. The organizations concluded by urging the government of India to recognize the irreparable damage done to their community and take immediate steps to implement a lasting, just solutions through the establishment of a separate administration for the Kuki people. Following the imposition of President's rule in Manipur, BJP MP Sambit Patra, the Northeast BJP in charge, on Friday, 14 February 2025, reiterated that the state's territorial integrity, stating that there will be no compromise on the territorial integrity of Manipur and that any kind of illegal infiltrations will not be allowed and will be dealt with a severe hand. With this regard, the Kuki-Zo Council issued a press statement stating that the Sambit Patra may be unaware or has chosen not to be aware that Meitei physically violated Manipur's territorial integrity on May 3, 2023 when they massacred, attacked church buildings, destroyed homes, and forcefully displaced the Kuki-Zo people from the Imphal Valley. And Biren Singh-led ethnic cleansing has separated Kuki-Zo and Meitei demographically and physically. Kuki-Zo are not separatists. Meiteis have separated Kuki-Zo from Manipur. The press statement further stated that more than 250 Kuki-Zo people have died in this conflict, over 7,000 Kuki-Zo homes have been destroyed, more than 360 places of worship have been set on fire or destroyed, and more than 40,000 Kuki-Zo people have become homeless. The Kuki-Zo Council receives positively the government's declarations of the president's rule in Manipur and is hopeful it would pave the way for due political settlements and peaceful coexistence as a good neighbor, it added. Previously, the Kuki-Zo Council toured various Kuki-Zo districts such as Persol and Gangpokpi. Apart from the Kuki-Zo districts, they toured Aizawl, Delhi NCR and Nagaland as well. This time in their third leg of their tour, they visited Tingnopal and Chandil districts. They held consultative meetings in the following places. Tingnopal, consultative meeting held at the Kuki MP Tingnopal office in Tingnopal on 12 February 2025. Moreh, consultative meeting held at the Hill Tribal Council Conference Hall in Moreh on 13 February 2025. Palel, meeting with leaders in Palel. Mulnoy on the 14th February 2025. Chandil, consultative meetings was held at the Kuki office of Kuki MP Chandil in Changkap, Chandil on 14 February 2025. Altogether, 8 active members of KSCP, 4 from KSCP PWG and 4 from KSCP Noyot have been landed in the police net from 2 different locations on Friday for their alleged involvement in extortion activities targeting the general public, government officials and field outlets. The police arrested 4 KSCP PWG members from Kabaysoy 7MR Gate near the auto rickshaw parking under Haengang police stations. The arrested individuals have been identified as Lanpok Lakpam Sanai Toy Mayday, alias Kauba 23, Sanabam Amit Kumar Singh 40, Seram Prem Singh, alias Bim Singh 49, and MD Itiam 55. Meanwhile, 4 other active members of KSCP Noyong were named from Hay Road Part 2, Jingbapom area under Tobol district. The arrested persons have been identified as Laikuram Sanatomba Singh alias Mani 22, Lorembam Suraj Singh alias Lamjingba 26, Tokchom Toy Ngamba Meite alias Naucha 22, and Hekrujam Nongo alias Tondambam 34. Manipur police have launched a crackdown on shop owners selling black films for vehicles. In the last 5 days, more than 400 cars in Imphal East District have had their tinted films removed. Police have also seized dozens of rolls of black film from accessory shops. Taking to their officials' X-handle, the Manipur police advised against having black film rolls on the cars. Authorities have strongly advised car accessory shop owners to surrender any remaining black film rolls to the nearest police stations. Car owners are asked to remove the black films from their vehicles voluntarily. The police further stated that failure to comply will result in strict legal actions as per the Supreme Court's order under CWP 265 of 2011 and Sections 102 of the Motor Vehicle Act. Meanwhile, continuing frequent search operations and area domination exercises in the fringe and vulnerable areas of hill and valley districts, the police seized the following items from a riverbank at Hiang Lam, Nate Kongtong Sing Kakching district. The items recovered 2 numbers of single-barrel gun, 1 modified sniper rifle with scope, 1 country-made pistol without magazine, 5 numbers of 36 hand grenade, 1 IED red in color weighing about 1 kg approximately. 1 IED black in color weighing about 2 kg approximately with wire, 1 IED black in color weighing about 900 grams approximately, 1 IED black in color weighing about 1 kg approximately, 50 numbers of live round of 3.303 rifle, 2 numbers of live round of insert rifle, 2 numbers of live round of 9mm pistol, 27 numbers of empty case of .303 rifle, 10 numbers of empty case of AK rifle, 6 numbers of live gadgets, signal 16mm, 2 numbers of empty insert magazine, 11 anti-riot items, 2 numbers of Baofeng handset, 1 drone remote controller made in China, and other miscellaneous items. CPIM's Manipur unit claimed that the president's rule was imposed not in the interest of the state, but to buy time to settle the internal conflicts within the ruling coalitions, particularly the BJP. In a statement, the party state secretary KSH Santa said Chief Minister, the main culprit, who was backed all along by the BJP RSS, was forced to resign because his partisan role was being examined by a court where evidence was presented of his secretarial role, leaving him with no choice but to quit. President's rule was imposed in the state and the assembly put under suspended animations on February 13, days after Chief Minister Biren Singh resigned from his post, which led to political uncertainty in the state. In all these developments, the central leadership of the ruling party and the central government refused to take the required action to alleviate the deep suffering inflicted on the people of Manipur, symbolized by the Prime Minister's Kalyan's refusal to even visit the troubled state it aided. The party asserted that central rule was no solution. However, now the central government cannot escape its responsibility. It must immediately initiate measures to heal the deep divisions through negotiations with representatives of different communities, taking all political parties into confidence to arrive at just solutions to bring normalcy, peace, and harmony while protecting the democratic rights of the people of the state, including the holdings of elections within a time frame, it said. Hours after President's rule was imposed in the strife-torn state on Thursday evening, Santa said it should be immediately revoked and fresh elections held as soon as possible. He also claimed that the shellfish quest for power among legislators brought the state to such a situation. The Manipur Pradesh Congress Committee MPCC has expressed displeasure over the imposition of the president's rule in the state, which had been facing a fragile situation due to the 21-month-old crisis. Manipur was brought under direct central rule on Thursday, days after Biren Singh resigned as chief minister. Imposition of president's rule and keeping the state legislative assembly under suspended animations by the center have clearly indicated that the center has been treating the people of the state as second-class citizens. Congress Legislature Party leader Okram Ibobi told journalists at the Congress office here on Friday. The three-time chief minister further said the government in Delhi has also shown that it is unrestrained. The Congress leader further slammed the BJP government at the center for disrespecting the democratically elected government in the state, saying it is noticeable that the center has no respect for the over 30 lakh people of Manipur. The way in which the center has been treating the state is intolerable, Ibobi said. It may be recalled that the center imposed president's rule in the state following the BJP MLA's failing to choose a chief ministerial candidate after Biren Singh's resignations one day ahead of the Manipur Assembly sessions amid mounting political pressure. Ibobi went on to attack the center, saying everything was pre-planned. Besides, an official president's rule was already in Manipur for quite some time. Devotees traveling to Mahakumbh were killed after a car collided with a bus in Uttar Pradesh, Prayagraj. 19 people were injured in the accident in Meza area on the Prayagraj-Mirzapur highway when the Bolero car collided with the bus. The devotees were traveling from Chhattisgarh's Korba districts to take a dip at the Sangam, a confluence of the Ganga, Yamuna, and mythical Saraswati rivers. The Bolero carrying the devotees collided with a bus that was traveling from Uttar Pradesh, Rajgarh district. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister took cognizance of the accident and directed officials to expedite relief work while also ensuring proper treatment of the injured. Earlier this week, 7 Andhra Pradesh pilgrims returning from Mahakumbh died and 2 others sustained injuries after a minibus in which they were traveling collided with a truck in Madhya Pradesh, Jabalpur district. Among the most tragic of accidents was on January 29, when 30 people were killed in the stampede that happened just before dawn at the Mahakumbh venue. 25 bodies have been identified. Police officer Vaibhav Krishna told reporters 86 were injured. The pre-dawn stampede at the Sangam area of the Mahakumbh broke out after many pilgrims jostled for space to take a holy dip on the occasions of Mauni Amavasya, one of the most auspicious days. Many people started breaking barricades before the stampede happened, the police officer said. The Mahakumbh began on January 13 and will end on February 26th. Pakistan on Friday strongly cautions the United States against exacerbating military imbalances in South Asia by supplying advanced military technologies to India, after President Donald Trump co-signed up to Narendra Modi offering to sell state-of-the-art fighter jets to New Delhi. Firmly rejecting its mentions in the U.S.-India joint statement in the context of terrorism, Foreign Office spokesperson Shafqat Ali Khan called the reference one-sided and misleading. The statement issued during Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Washington on February 13 asked Pakistan to expeditiously bring to justice those responsible for the 2008 Mumbai attacks and the Panthakot incident, further demanding that Pakistani territory not be used for cross-border terrorism. Speaking at a weekly media briefing on Friday, Khan expressed Pakistan's disapproval of the joint statement, saying, "We are surprised the reference has been added to the joint statement, notwithstanding Pakistan's counter-terrorism cooperation with the U.S. Pakistan also remains committed to continue with counter-terrorism efforts, address the issues of terrorism, including acts of terrorism perpetrated by foreign elements. We consider that the Pakistan-specific reference in the Indo-US joint statement of February 13, 2025 as one-sided, misleading, and contrary to diplomatic norms." Responding to the focus on terrorism incidents, the spokesperson criticized the statement for overlooking India's human rights violations and its involvement in targeting dissidents abroad. He remarked, "Such references cannot cover up India's sponsorship of terrorism, subversions, and extrajudicial assassinations in the regions and beyond, nor can they shift international attention from the stark reality of India being a safe haven for the perpetrators of hate crimes against Muslims and other minorities." Khan reaffirmed Islamabad's dedication to countering terrorism, emphasizing Pakistan would continue to contribute constructively to the regional and global efforts to promote peace and stability in the region. It remains committed to bringing the fight against terrorism to its logical conclusions by eliminating the scourge from its soils. Pakistan also reacted sharply to President Trump's offer to sell state-of-the-art fighter jets to India, expressing serious concerns over the potential transfer of advanced military technology. During a joint press appearance with Modi, Trump announced his administration's willingness to sell F-35 stealth fighters, one of the most advanced military aircraft globally. It finalized the deal would make India part of an exclusive group of countries, including NATO allies, Israel, and Japan, authorized to purchase the F-35s, which is known for its stealth capabilities and supersonic speed. Currently, India operates an aging fleet of Russian fighters along with a limited number of French Rafale aircraft. Warning against the consequences of such arms transfer, the FO spokesman cautions such steps shape military imbalances in the region and undermine strategic stability. They remain unhelpful in achieving the objective of a durable peace in South Asia. Here, international partners to adopt a holistic and objective view of the issues of peace and security in South Asia and avoid taking one-sided positions diverse from ground realities. During the briefing, the spokesperson also announced that Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar would visit New York next week to participate in a high-level United Nations Security Council meeting. He is also expected to engage in bilateral discussions with his counterparts from other nations and senior UN officials, including Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. When asked about a possible meeting with officials from the Trump administration, Khan stated that details would be shared once all meetings were confirmed. U.S. intelligence officials warned that Israel is likely to launch a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear program by mid-year, aiming to exploit Iran's perceived weakness, according to multiple intelligence reports, according to the Washington Post on Wednesday. Intelligence assessments from the former Biden administrations and the current Trump administration suggest that such an attack would delay Iran's nuclear program by only weeks or months, while greatly escalating regional tensions and increasing the risk of a broader conflict, the U.S. Daily reported. White House National Security Council spokesperson Brian Hux told the Washington Post that President Donald Trump will not permit Iran to get a nuclear weapon, and emphasized that while Trump prefers a peaceful resolution with Iran, he will not wait indefinitely for negotiations. The most detailed intelligence assessment issued in early January by the Joint Chiefs of Staff's intelligence agency warned that Israel is likely planning on attack on Iran's Fordow and Natanz nuclear sites, the report added. Current and former U.S. officials familiar with the intelligence said Israel believes its October bombing of Iran weakened the country's air defenses, making it vulnerable to another strike. In a Fox News interview aired on Monday, Trump said he would prefer to reach a deal with Iran to prevent it from acquiring a nuclear weapon, adding, "Everyone assumes that Israel, with our support or approval, will go in and bomb the hell out of them. I would prefer that not to happen." Under former U.S. President Barack Obama, the U.S. and European allies reached a deal to curb Iran's nuclear program, but Trump, with support from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin, withdrew from the agreement in 2018 and reinstated sanctions. Since then, Iran has resumed its nuclear activities, including uranium enrichment, according to the UN Nuclear Agency. In January, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi announced that Iran, Britain, France, and Germany met in Geneva to discuss reviving nuclear negotiations. The newly formed U.S. government dismissed over 9,500 employees from various agencies on Thursday as part of President Donald Trump and Elon Musk's effort to radically overhaul America's bureaucracy. The Department of Veterans Affairs, looking after healthcare to veterans, announced it had laid off over 1,000 employees still in their probationary period, while the U.S. Forest Service planned to terminate more than 3,000 staff members. The union sources and employee familiar with the moves told media that Reuters that terminations emails have been sent in the past 48 hours to workers across the government, mostly recently hired employees still on probation. Some agencies, including the Departments of Interior, Energy, and Veteran Affairs, Agriculture, and Health and Human Services, targeted employees with less job protections, while others, such as the Independent Watchdog Consumer Financial Protections Bureau, were effectively shut down, with cuts also impacting fixed-term contract workers. Trump defended the ever-widening initiative, arguing that the federal government is overly bloated with too much money lost to waste and fraud. With the federal government carrying a $36 trillion debt and running a $1.8 trillion deficit last year, there is bipartisan consensus on the necessity for government reform. Critics, however, have raised concerns about Musk's blunt approach, especially given the immense influence he has gained during Trump's presidency. According to government data, around 280,000 civilian government workers were hired less than 2 years ago, with most still on probation, making them more vulnerable to terminations. In a statement, the Department of Veterans Affairs said that the firings will save the department more than $98 million per year, and VA will redirect all of those resources back toward health care, benefits, and services for VA beneficiaries. As the firing began, a group of 14 states filed a federal lawsuit in Washington, claiming that Trump's appointment of Musk was illegal, granting him unchecked legal authority without congressional approval. Most civil service employees can only be fired for poor performance or misconduct and are entitled to various due process and appeal rights if terminated unfairly. However, the probation's employees primarily affected by Thursday's layoff have fewer legal protections. That's all from us tonight, and we thank you for joining our program.